All right. I am excited for this one here today. Welcome back to DRABS. Dad reads a bedtime story. We've already finished a few books this week, but we've got a new one here. And like I said, I'm super excited to get started on this one. This one is Encyclopedia Brown Gets His Man. So I'll tell you, I love the Encyclopedia Browns and the What Would You Do books when I was a kid, just because it had so many different ways that it could go. So, without further ado, let's get it cracking here. It looks like this one has about 10 different chapters, and in these Encyclopedia Brown books, each chapter is a different story. So, we'll see what we can get through here in the first 10 or 15 minutes, and that should be sufficient for a bedtime story tonight. So, without further ado, Encyclopedia Brown Gets His Man. Chapter 1 is called The Case of the Marble Shooter. Now it happens that in America, some people break the law. Many get caught, but a few get away. This was not true in Idaville. In Idaville, everyone who broke the law got caught. Aside from catching crooks, 1, 2, 3, Idaville was like any other American town its size. It had banks, movie theaters, and delicatessens. It had rich families, poor families, and several miles of sunny beach. And for its war on crime, Idaville had Encyclopedia Brown. Encyclopedia's father was Chief Brown, head of the Idaville police force. People from everywhere agreed that he was the smartest police officer in the land. Chief Brown never let out the reason for his success. If he did, who would believe him? Who would believe that the real brains behind Idaville's wonderful police record was his quiet 10-year-old son? For a year now, Chief Brown had been bringing home his hardest cases. Encyclopedia solved them while eating dinner in the Browns' red brick house on Rover Avenue. Since Encyclopedia had taken to matching wits with criminals, the word had raced through the underworld. Stay clear of Idaville. Idaville? Big time gunmen trembled at the mere mention of the town. Encyclopedia never told anyone about the help he gave his father. He didn't want to seem different from other fifth graders. But he could do nothing about his nickname. Only his parents and teachers called him by his right name, Leroy. Everyone else in Idaville called him Encyclopedia. An encyclopedia is a book or a set of books filled with facts from A to Z. Encyclopedia Brown knew about the American Automobile Association, the Zanzibar Zipper Company, and everything in between. He had read more books than Mrs. Babcock, the principal of the Idaville Grammar School. Encyclopedia did not solve mysteries just in the dining room. During the summer, he often solved them in the garage. He wanted to help children of the neighborhood, so he had opened his own detective business. Outside the garage each morning, he hung a sign: Brown Detective Agency, 13 Rover Avenue, Leroy Brown, President. No case too small, 25 cents per day, plus expenses. One day, a boy walked into the garage. He dropped to one knee before Idaville's only private detective. Goodness, thought Encyclopedia, I haven't been that successful. The boy wasn't doing homage, however. He was aiming. With a snap of his thumb, he spun a quarter through the air. It landed on the gasoline can beside Encyclopedia. You've got a hot thumb, said Encyclopedia. You've got the hottest thumb I've ever seen. I want to hire you, said the boy. My name is Algernon Kehoe. Some big kid just made off with Minnie and Moocher. Kidnapped them, exclaimed Encyclopedia. Did they shout for help? No, but they clinked a little, said Algernon glumly. Encyclopedia couldn't imagine why two girls should dress in anything that clinked like two knights or a pair of dice. It's months too early for Halloween, he thought. This case was a puzzler, all right. Describe the missing persons, please, he said. Minnie has two red stripes across the middle, began Algernon. Moocher has. Wait, they're not missing persons, they're missing marbles. Algernon explained. Minnie and Moocher were his best shooters. He had been practicing marbles by himself when a big kid had come along and challenged him to a match. For fair or for keeps? Asked Encyclopedia. For keeps, answered Algernon. He beat you? I beat him, said Algernon. I won all his marbles. He got sore and took Minnie and Moocher and all my other marbles. You didn't try to stop him? Of course I tried, said Algernon. I said I'd tweak him, but a bunch of his friends appeared. They asked who I was, and the big kid said, Who? I don't see anyone. But I noticed he closed his eyes just before he spoke. Said Encyclopedia. How was he dressed? He wore a sweatshirt with tigers written on it, like his friends. I knew it, exclaimed Encyclopedia. Bugs Meany. Bugs Meany was the leader of the Tigers, a gang of tough older boys. When it came to upsetting the peace of the neighborhood, they were worse than noisy plumbing. Since opening his detective agency, Encyclopedia had often been hired to stop Bugs' dishonest doings. For several minutes, Encyclopedia was silent, thinking. Algernon stood by, working his thumb to develop muscle. Finally, Encyclopedia said, Bugs will say he never saw you before. We must make him admit he knows you. He knows me, said Algernon. He called me Algernon an old pal when we started to shoot marbles. After I licked him, he called me a dirty thief and lots of other names. We had better have a talk with Bugs, Encyclopedia said. Let's go, Algernon. Just call me Al if you don't mind, Algernon. Algernon means with the mustache. The Tigers Clubhouse was an unused tool shed behind Mr. Sweeney's auto body shop. When the Encyclopedia and Algernon arrived, Bugs was alone. He was playing checkers with himself and cheating. Scram, he snarled when he saw Encyclopedia, or I'll knock you so hard on the head you'll have to take off your shoes to watch television. I ought to tweak him now while he's alone, whispered Al. Take it easy, Encyclopedia whispered back, but Algernon began working his thumb excitedly. Bugs Meany stared. What's with this kid? He asked. Is he practicing to be a hitchhiker? His name is Al Kehoe, and you stole Minnie and Moocher and his other marbles, said Encyclopedia. Kindly return them. I stole his marbles, cried Bugs. He clapped himself smartly on the forehead. Why, I never saw Jumpy Thumb here before in my life. Algernon's marble-shooting thumb was wiggling faster than ever. I was a coward to let him rob me, he muttered. He started for Bugs. Encyclopedia pushed him back. I'm going to tweak him, so help me, said Algernon. Just then, Duke Kelly and Spike Larson, two tigers, entered the clubhouse. They glared at Encyclopedia. Then they saw Algernon's thumb wiggling. Who is he? They asked. Algernon Kehoe, answered Bugs. He says I stole his marbles. I ought to tweak them all. Algernon growled under his breath. Tweak, tweak, tweak. What's he mumbling about? Demanded Bugs. I beat you at marbles, and I can beat you at tweak, said Algernon. Tweak, said Bugs. Tweak, repeated Algernon. It's played like this. His right hand, with his powerful thumb tucked under his forefinger, shot out. When his hand got under Bugs' lower lip, his thumb snapped free like a broken spring. Tweak, said Algernon. Boing, boing, went Bugs' lips. They bounced up and down like the tip of a diving board. While Bugs danced around, flapping his arms in pain, Spike and Duke cocked their fist. Encyclopedia held up his hands. Don't make more troubles for yourself, he warned. Bugs stole Algernon's marbles, all right. So, what made Encyclopedia so sure that Bugs stole Algernon's marbles? Let's go ahead and turn up to page 89 and find out. So, Bugs Meany said that he had never seen the marble shooter before in his life. Yet when Duke Kelly and Spike Larson asked who he was, Bugs said he was Algernon Kehoe. That was Bugs' slip. For when Encyclopedia spoke with Bugs in the clubhouse, he called the marble shooter Al Kehoe. Al is short for many names. A few are Albert, Aldrich, Alfonso, Alfred, Alistair, Alton, and Alvin. Bugs could not have known unless he had met Algernon before that Al was short for Algernon. All right, good deal. So we went ahead, we made it through the very first Encyclopedia Brown Gets His Man. That's taking us just to under the 10-minute mark here. So we'll call it a night. Everyone have a great night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on Dad Reads a Bedtime Story. Thanks.